This is
Coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role models every Sunday.
Party on a Sunday.
From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Naki and Carl.
That sounded kind of odd.
I know, I wasn't on.
Go ahead. No.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So, good morning, Faika family. It is the 21st of July, 2019. You're listening to Season 3, Episode 25 of the Faika Podcast. I'm your host, Carl, and with me, as always, your second host, the lovely Naki. Good morning, Naki.
Mortings.
Also in the Paulie by Design Media Center this morning, our brother, community activist extraordinaire, and overall good dude, our Coco Neo Ve'evea. Good morning, brother.
Oh, good morning, family. Good morning.
Good to have you in.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Today, we will be doing the normal check-ins and talking about the goings-on in our Polynesian land of Hawaii on the top of Mount Mauna Kea. A lot of things going on there. We're going to chop that up and kind of get through our feelings on both sides of the topic. And then in the second hour, we will have in studio Daniel Nava from Project Ohana. We've been kind of chasing this one for a minute. So we have Daniel in studio. Daniel's a Renaissance man of many talents. I was reading the bio that Naki put together on Paulie by Design's social media pages this week, and there's some things about Daniel I didn't know, so can't wait to get him in here and chop it up with him. That is our show today. Naki, what's up?
Well, good morning. So, this week, Friday, what did we do? Friday, we had PIYA, their performance at Philip Burton High School. Is
The
it Philip?
old Woodrow Wilson.
I know it as Woodrow
Right?
Wilson.
Right.
So I don't know how long ago it turned into Philip Burton, but that's where PIYA was having their summer end performance.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was awesome. They did a great job. PIYA did a great job. The kids were amazing.
Yeah.
I love their performance, and I love that SCDC is continuing to show the kids their culture and showing them the dances.
Right.
And the pre-K and first grade kids killed it.
I mean, they were awesome.
They were so good.
Cute.
They were so good. So it was awesome to see the kids. I got to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a minute.
Yeah.
We got to Nani Wilson was there with Asian American Recovery Services
She
to
was.
support.
See her.
You didn't?
No, I was out front signing people in.
Ah.
I think she snuck into the back.
Okay. She was there for a little bit. She was
Yeah.
there with Simala.
Yeah.
The kids were just so cute too, who is Tino's son.
Yeah.
To me, he always is just, he's so cute because he's not shy
Not
and
at
he just
all.
goes.
Yeah.
And
He runs
so-
our office. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Every Friday, Tino says he's not hungry, but then he goes, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
He was, the other Friday he was there. And it's a room full of adults, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know the vast majority of them.
Right.
He walked in like he belonged there.
Yeah.
Yes.
He owns
Yeah.
that room.
And
so.
that's a usually little kids like, when I was his age, I'd have poked my head in, took a
Yeah.
look, and then kept walking down the hall.
Yeah, same
Not
here.
him. He walked in,
He's
said
so
hi.
cute.
He was just fine.
Yeah. Went and sat at his dad's desk.
Yeah.
And then Nani proceeded to feed Naki proceeded to feed him.
Well, when he first comes in, he says, hi, I'm thirsty. And
Yeah.
then he
saw
I
the
gave him
bread.
water. Yeah.
He
And
saw
then I
that.
said, are you hungry? You want some bread? He's like,
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
Yeah, that was so cute.
I go, okay, and with bread comes chicken and
Right.
and salad and whatever. But he just wanted
Yeah, the full
he's so
meal.
cute.
Yeah.
So the kids did a great job. Congratulations to PIYA and SCDC for an amazing job.
Had a much different feel to it this year. I remember last year it was day 2 of JT's funeral services.
Yeah.
So Amu was there. They did the dance. Cree was there. There were people breaking down crying in the crowd when Cree was dancing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everybody just ran to the parking lots and got in their cars and headed to the church.
To the services.
So it was a much different feel this year than it was last year. And then last year was about kind of the reflection of JT, and then Amu was there. Amu was there again. They started, they kicked things off.
Yeah, they kicked things off, and Soma did his dance, his tawalunga. So, and it was a great event. It's always a great event, PIYA. So yeah, big ups to SCDC. After that,
what did you guys do?
So
that?
yeah, so
class.
Mena, so my daughter Mena and Drew, they met us there at the PIYA function, and then from there Mena wanted to hang out, so we took her. She stays with my son in Oakland, and then she came to spend the night, so she rode with me and Carl, and we went to the Samoan language and culture class. Which and then Mena is like, okay, I'll go with you, and be right in the parking lot of the church at 2-6. She says, Mom, do I have to speak? And I said, no.
This is as we got out of the car to walk in the building. She was just confirming that she wanted to make sure.
She just wanted to make sure that she didn't have to do anything. Right. She didn't want any part.
Yeah.
She just was there to hang out.
To support.
And so class starts, and Tama is talking about what we're going to go over.
We're like 2 minutes in at this point.
Yeah, we're 2 minutes in, and his son Mel gets up, and they're just going over what we're going to talk about. They're reading on the introductions, and it's introduction of one person, two person, then third person.
Right.
And Mel comes up, his son, to help him, and then he goes, I need somebody else. You at the end, and it's Mena. And in my head, I was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna kill me."
It was classic Mena, because he pointed at her, and Mena literally turned around like, "Is there somebody behind me that you're looking at?" No, you're at the end.
Yeah, it's you.
God.
So she's like, "Alrighty then," and she gets up and she reads the third person part. She did really good. She did really good. Yeah. And so, and her Samoan is good, because Mo. So it has nothing to do with me, but my mom, she credits everything to my mom. So my mom talks to her in Samoan all the time.
That's awesome.
So she does her thing, and then she's off. We break up into groups, and we did introductions of one person, two person, three people. So it was really, really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had in my group, so there's these two little girls that are so cute. Brina and Jennifer was in Jenny. She was in my group, and
what do you call her?
I call her Jenny from the block.
So good. So good.
I go, what's your name? She goes, Jennifer. And I go, what do they call you? She goes, Jenny. I go, girl, you Jenny from the block. She's like, okay.
Oh, cute. She's not even alive when that song came out.
Right.
No, but she was so cute. So she was trying to do her part, and I told her what line to read, and she was just like memorizing it. She didn't want to read it. She was sitting there while the rest of us were going on with 2 and 3. She was sitting there going, she was memorizing it.
That's so
it was
awesome.
So cute. But the kids in that class are doing such a great job, because when they first came in, like Jonah, who is Flo's grandson, no Samoan. And when the first day we talked about this, what they had to read the very first day.
Like class.
Read Samoan.
You're standing up, speaking Samoan to the class.
They had
Jonah he didn't even skip a beat. He got right up and just started reading, and now his Samoan is really, really good.
Oh, nice.
And
how old is Jonah?
Oh my gosh, is he 11?
10, 11 maybe?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, because,
he's tall.
Some kids are big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really tall.
He's tall. And his brother, DJ, who was in my group, we were group 3. Yeah, because we can't. Anyway, we're in group 3, and DJ had missed a couple of classes, and so he was like getting notes and writing. I mean, he was serious. He was like, Auntie, I missed a couple of classes, so I got to catch up. And it was so cute, because they're so into it.
That is awesome.
And then her other grandson, Flo's grandson, Jaden, was behind me. He was in the other group, and I was Faikaing, and he was so good. His Samoan is so good. So yeah, those kids are doing good.
How many more classes?
7.
Oh, okay.
6.
6 more classes. So I'm telling you, if you haven't, you It doesn't matter where you come in. People are like, oh, it already started. No, it doesn't matter where you come in the class. You'll pick up and learn something. So it's awesome.
You'll get something out of it.
Yeah. And we have this family that comes in from Sacramento besides Carl.
Wow.
And me, Sassoon, and this other Jetty and Sue. They come in from Sacramento and they dread all the way back afterwards. Pittsburgh. Yeah. People come in from Pittsburgh and Concord.
It's a lot to be said. The need is there, right?
The need is there. We're so hungry.
Right,
exactly. We're so hungry for it. So
Yeah.
And Timoa, who is, she's one of the young girls too that comes from Sacramento. She's having a blast there. She's like, Auntie, I learned a lot. I was like, oh, good. You tell your mama keep coming. That's why you just keep coming.
Yeah.
And this week they brought their dad, Jetty. So it was awesome. It was really, really good. So I love the class. We have food. Child, we have food.
Really?
We had curry pisupo. Tama made curry pisupo. It was really good with yes. They had empanadas, which I love. I don't know who brought them.
I was going to say who made those.
I think they are store bought.
Oh, okay.
But they were really, really good. We've been having some good food.
So there you go, curry on top of the empanadas.
Yes.
Like,
ooh. Dang, I didn't even try that. I had crackers and some spread. They have a variety of food.
Everybody kind of contributes.
Everybody contributes,
nice.
But Tina usually makes like a meal. Like they tell you, they have snacks, finger foods. No, they got a meal.
Our snacks are a 3-course meal.
It was definitely a 3-course meal.
Yeah.
Carl, full of me, he did a really, really good job.
Of course he did.
I don't get it. She just came over and was like, here.
They don't even ask anymore. She was like, here, Carl, you full. And when she asks, you just do it.
Of course.
It's not really a question. Yeah. It's not really a question. She's just telling you. Yeah.
And Naki laughs.
I laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And you did it, and you did a good job.
He did a great job.
They threw new words at me.
Yeah. So
I know the words to go through it, but then the actual food they gave. I think there's 4 or 5 of us that they asked to do it. So you go through the whole thing, and they gave me Patricia's food. Yeah. Patricia is the person that I was thanking, and the food that she brought. And so I didn't really pay attention to that when she handed it to me because I was too.
Sorry, I was checking it. Sorry, go ahead, Carl.
So wait a minute.
So
you is it almost like introducing the food or
no? So you're going through the thanking the people, and so there's like 5 or 6 different people that brought food. So there's several different people thanked. So I only had one person to thank, and then somebody else had somebody else. But the food, the description of the food, there was words in there that I hadn't.
You know what I like about that is it's very authoritative, right? You can't be very timid when you're speaking or doing that. You have to really be in command of what's going on. So have you captured that art of standing there and really kind of.
Yeah, I've actually. So the first few times I did it sitting, and the last few times I've made a point to stand up.
Right.
But I think it's just more comfortable, especially when you're not sure of what you're saying.
Right.
To sit down, and you can see some people are like, and understandably, are kind of trying to not hide, but they're not confident in what they're saying, and I'm not extremely confident either. But. I've spoken in front of hundreds of people. Yeah. I've spoken in front of literally 600, 700, 800 people in a room with executive vice presidents of the company that I work.
Yeah,
and I don't I know the topic.
Right, you don't flinch.
I'm not nervous. Yeah. I mean, I'm nervous about I want it to come off well, but I'm not nervous about the actual presentation and speaking. The rush that I was getting when I first started speaking in front of the group, I was like, man, this feels like when I first started public speaking, and my voice would want to cry. You're hyperventilating. It's a whole different feeling. But I have made a point to stand up and speak a little bit more clearly and loudly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I cry when I speak in public.
Really?
So I can't do it unless I'm really comfortable.
In English or Samoan or both?
in everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Because I think
Except
I get
for when
so
you were the
nervous.
MC for Heva Otauri.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or except for when you were the MC for the
Okay,
Polynesian
whatever.
Heritage
Yeah, there
Festival.
you
All
go.
right, whatever.
No, but I mean, it is something that the more you do it, the better it gets.
I know, but you really have to prepare for it. You're like,
Yeah.
you can't go up there. Like, you're really good at winging it.
Yeah, well,
like-
because I can't see anything on the paper. They're like, "Can you read this?" And I'm like, "No," but
Oh.
I'll try. No, and winging it is an art form as well. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
well, thank you.
Yeah,
So-
I think there's twice the nervousness, and
Yeah.
when winging it, but if you don't speak the language,
Right.
you can't wing anything. Then
Well,
you're
I
just trying
just
to.
totally admire our Samoan speakers when they do. They just command
Mm-hmm.
your attention. They could be talking about a glass of water,
Right.
but it's just you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
I want to get to that level. You know,
Me
of,
too.
of really just presenting itself, and then you just
Mhm.
sit there like, oh, I don't think I want to talk.
I know. But yeah. So the Samoan language and culture class is going on for 6 more weeks.
I think
Wow.
6 more.
6 more weeks.
And then it takes a break for you know how long, and then reboots
Mm-hmm.
itself.
I think a lot of it has to do with what's going on with the church, because Tama, the break that we took last time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he actually wanted to start earlier, and then some things. So I don't think that there's like a set 6 or 8 week break.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of what fits with the church's schedule, because
Yeah.
we're in their facility.
I know. So it was a really good class, and we got to meet Tama. 2 of his sisters were there, so they were sitting in the back, and I went to the back to go talk to Tina, and she was like, "Oh, here's Tama's sisters." I was like, "Oh, hey, Talofa."
What's great?
Yeah.
What's
Tell
great?
them-
It's free.
It's free,
And
yeah.
I think every other church or every other nonprofit organization should
Right.
really jump on this bandwagon of
Yeah.
really providing that service for our people, because they're so thirsty, they're so hungry.
Yeah.
You know, they just even just your basic conversation.
Yeah. So it was really, she taught us how, because you know how at, when there's a falavelave,
Yeah.
the person who does the kupe,
Yes.
File out
Fi-
Tusi.
Filotusi.
There you go.
So one of the sisters is usually the Filotusi. Filotusi. And she was explaining how when you're basically the treasurer for
Right.
Falalave, you have to write everything.
Everything down.
Like everything. Like when somebody brings a CE and what you give back.
Right.
And what they give back.
The SUA and what, like every single thing. Somebody asks you for $2,000 for, the corned beef. You got to write down so-and-so. Like, I would be so nervous.
Well, it just kind of keeps things accountable, right? Because
Right.
a lot of times when we grew up and seeing all these Fat Love is somebody would end up with a van or a
Yes,
car. And then,
yeah.
that masalo like, they took that money
Yes.
in. So,
Yeah, so
our own
she explained that
accountability.
very well, which was kind of it helped me, because I was like, oh, I thought they just wrote down who brought the money and
Right.
who went out, but no, they write down how much money went back, who got a SUA, blah blah blah.
So
it
I
was
wonder
really
if
good.
receipts are now a part of that process.
Yes.
When you, like, say for the household, they get
Yeah.
$2,000 to feed whatever.
Yeah.
And bring
You-
receipts. Bring receipts. Yeah.
You need receipts for everything,
And that's
So-
good.
Yeah, I think so
Accountability is
too.
good.
Accountability,
Yeah.
because at the end of the falalave, you have to present
Right.
what happened to the money and what's left. So that was very, very good. I love that.
Yeah.
I ended up with one of the sisters, Talalupe,
Yes.
in my group, and it's always unnerving when there's somebody there that speaks.
Yeah.
Fluent Samoan. The first time I think was Thai was in my group, and it's
intimidating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's not
But
intimidating.
you know
Yeah.
what I like about it is because I know 20 some years ago we took a Samoan class that they presented at an organization, which I will not say, and every time we spoke, they laughed. And
That's not right.
It wasn't right, but I could understand at the time because they were so like amazed that these people, 13 of us, could not speak it. But now, like you said, Ty was sitting in your group, so
Well, all the people that are really fluent
right.
are extremely helpful.
That's what
even though
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
That's
is
what
to
it's
be
supposed to
because
be.
there was a point where you're supposed to break up we all broke up into groups of. There was 4 groups. There was 4 groups, and in the groups were like 6 or 7 people. So we started our groups with 2 groups of 3, and then Talalupe and Patricia came up later, and they speak Samoan, perfectly.
Right.
So they don't have a third person, and so as we were going through the two groups of 3 that don't really speak Samoan, I kept like looking back, and they were doing the exercise, and I was thinking, well, how are they? There's only 2 of them,
right?
And they had made up the other person, and were taking turns like taking that role. They were just flying through the exercise, and I was like, yeah, you guys are just fine if you're able to make up the other person. There's not even that person there, and you're still getting through the exercise. But just another night of, well, at least this portion that we're talking about. Interactive. The other people that speak it are really helping the people that don't. There were people that had taken pictures of the screen. So then you're going back and you're really reading it the first couple times, and people are sharing, like sending the picture to the person next to them so they can look at it.
That's awesome.
Just a lot of, I don't know, community sharing, in the way that people are learning.
A lot of community.
Yeah, so that was Friday, and then Saturday we were home. We had stuff, but we decided to.
I saw Mo built something for you. Let's talk about that.
So I went on Pinterest.
There you go.
And
Pinterest.
I needed to decorate a wall.
Yeah.
And so I went on Pinterest and seen there were 3 shelves. It's just 3 shelves, and then I could put whatever pictures on there.
Yeah.
So Mo and my girls. Were sawing and painting and nailing stuff to the wall.
Yeah.
And then we put pictures on it, and then where I seen on Pinterest on the top it said family, and so we have it says eyeing on the top.
Love that.
And then we put everybody's picture.
Yeah.
And so
nice.
that's what we did. We cleaned and put pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
So
okay.
and
there
then,
you go.
She's skipping a part.
And then
What part are you
Was there
skipping,
alcohol involved?
No.
later on.
Oh, later on.
That's not the part.
That's not the part he's talking about, though.
What am I talking about?
What
What
is
might
he
I be
talking
talking about?
See, she forgets.
She forgets things.
Yeah.
Big things.
Remind her, and maybe it'll come to her.
Let's see. Why did we start decorating?
We started decorating because the house belongs to me now.
There you go.
There you go.
Proud
belongs
homeowner
to
sitting
me.
across the
I
table
know.
from me.
Right.
Congratulations,
Thank
Naki,
you.
and to your family.
Thank you. So we decorated all day, or Mo.
Man, he is
Mo
great.
did all the Mo did
Mo.
all. Thank you, Mo.
Yeah.
Mo and my babies, and
And you just
we
kind of
painted.
pointed and
I'm good at that though.
yeah.
I was
Well, that's
delegating.
leadership
Hey,
skills
man.
right there. There you go.
And so I'm project manager.
There you go. So I like that title.
I was the project manager yesterday.
Biatch.
So there you go. And then where I work, one of the girls, the sergeant where I work, she's going to the Hillsborough PD. And so then she texts me around 10 p.m. Well, we were all supposed to go to dinner, and I didn't make dinner because I was doing my project managing. And then at 10 o'clock, or almost 10, she texted me and said, hey, we're going here. And I'm not going to see her for 6 months because she'll be in the academy. And so I was like, okay, I'm coming. And then I had so much fun. I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning. We went
There
to
you
Walnut Creek, but we went to this
Ah.
place called Retro Junkie.
Retro Junkie.
They played 80 music.
Oh, there you
The
go.
DJ played 80s
Nothing but
music
80s, huh?
all night. It was
R&B
so
or
good.
just like random?
Random. I knew every song.
Okay,
I
'cause
knew
you're an
every
80s girl.
song. So
Yeah.
it was so much fun. And, she likes to dance. So it was really me, her, and Kim, who's another sergeant, his girlfriend, and another sergeant. So it was all sergeants.
And you're also a part-time photographer at work
Yes.
as well, right?
Some part-time photographer guy. So yeah. So we went out. Mo is my designated driver.
Awesome.
And,
See Mo, man.
Yeah, he's good.
Most patient man in the world.
Yes, very patient.
By far.
Whatever.
3 o'clock, huh?
I got home.
How you feeling
I
now?
have my coffee, which
Okay.
is an Americano with an extra shot. And so I'm
And
all
some
good.
water,
morning.
and that's
I have
good.
tons of water to
See, there you
hydrate.
go.
And so, yeah. That was my week. How about you, Neo?
Same. So let me talk about the PIYA event. I was able to sign everybody in, everybody who showed up, and that's great because you have a personal, interaction with all the people who are coming, and they're just so excited to come see their babies perform. Right? I mean, they were just like, yeah, we got to get in there. And what I love about PIYA is that the diversity of how our group has become, the kids. They're biracial, African American, Latino, Filipino. It's just but when they're singing in Samoan, you can close your eyes and you can actually feel like you're back home. And these kids, some of the kids the boys don't know how to sulu their ear or tie their, and they got these shorts on and they're always falling off. But man, the energy that they perform at was just, I just stood there in amazement, just like, wow. I wish I could have went to something like this or be a part of something.
Me too.
Growing up, we didn't have that. We were kind of forced into the church dances and there wasn't really like a curriculum to teach.
Churches didn't have summer programs?
I did go to, I did 2-6, used to be King's Church. And they had a summer program that I attended a couple of summers. But it was just like a couple of summers and then that was it.
Right.
So I wish my kids were.
And I think it's really important. And what's so amazing also is the ones who are teaching it now were also alumni, right?
Yes, I love that
program.
Yeah. I love that they come back.
Oh my God. And just to see them actually training the kids. I mean, I think the conductors, they're all young, right?
Yes.
And so you're going to see the next generation of PIYA leaders come up, and the kids just love it. I'm out there signing people in, and little kids are coming. Uncle, can I take a selfie with you? I'm like, you got a phone?
Oh
and
my
they're
God.
taking their selfies.
How
and
cute.
I'm like, is that just so amazing?
That's so cute.
So Auntie John was out front. This, I think, was the first year that she totally was not involved. And she felt really at home.
I know.
Just greeting everybody to come in. And I was like, man, you don't miss it. He goes, no. It's a whole new generation of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they did such a good
Andrew
job.
did a really good job.
Yeah, they all did. And I just... kudos to them, right? Because it's a lot. These kids.
Oh my God.
Are a handful. The energy they exude, and even when we're working, and just to hear them sing.
I know you spoke of that many times.
And randomly, sometimes they'll be out in the school, the play yard, just on the structures, and they break out into a song. You're like, man, and all in Samoan. So,
I love that.
Yeah, it's so amazing. So that was Friday, and Saturday. I announced that I was leaving SCDC, so I was packing up yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
You know what? 5 years of stuff
that's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you kind of realize, did I need all this stuff?
No, it's just been sitting there.
At some point, you needed each of those, but maybe not all the time.
And I'm always thinking like, well, there might be another event coming up. Maybe I should hold on to this, right?
Right.
So a lot of that holding on to this in case another event comes up, but. So that's what I did Saturday, and I made lasagna on Friday. You guys missed out on my lasagna. It weighed about 50 pounds.
I've seen that on social media.
I forgot how heavy that pasta and all the sauce and
sounds so good.
Yeah, so after we did the moving, everybody sat down and didn't breathe for about an hour because we had our face in the pasta, and that was pretty good. Yeah, so that was pretty much my weekend, was trying to get things together and move on to the next journey, whichever that might be.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. How about you, Carl?
Carl, how was
Were you
your
flying
week?
around the States? Or?
Well, I think we're going to go to break.
Oh, are we?
Okay.
And then when we come back,
wow,
we
that was
can
fast.
go through that. But we flew through our first half hour, and I have words to say.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Correct. Let's see. Essence of Mana Family Night invites you to their free 12-week class designed to support adult family members develop communication skills and tips leading to more love and nurturing family relations. Free for the entire family. Classes start back up August 8th. That's right around the corner. 2019. from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. For more information and to pre-register, please contact Nani Wilson at 650-243-4850 or nwilson@aars.org. We were actually listening to a video, an interview that you had done with
with Britt Afu
regarding this program, right?
Yes,
we're talking about
Essence
this program.
of Mana. Mm-hmm.
And there were points of the program listening to the interview that I think that sometimes we miss as we go through this, that these are for like court-ordered instances.
Some are court ordered.
They count, I guess, is what they're saying for courts.
It helps you get custody if you're fighting for your child. You get a certificate that shows you've been through this class, and it helps you when you go to court.
New parenting skills as well.
New parenting skills.
And you both have been members of that.
Yes,
of that
we got
class.
certificates.
It's interactive.
It's fair. It's a good class because then you get to meet a bunch of people and learn about their experiences and what they're going through with their kids, raising their kids, and then they get to hear your story. If you have a story, you don't even have to have a story, but you learn how to deal with your kids if they come out, if they're gay, and how to for you to cope and tell you how to deal, or if you need help talking to your child. If your child is give you signs if your kid is struggling with cutting or suicide. Cutting or joined a gang. They have someone to come in and speak to the class about gang affiliation, gang prevention, and how you can look for the signs if your kid and substance abuse. I mean, it's such a great class, whether you have a 3-year-old or a 28-year-old. It's a great class,
and it talks a lot about social media as well, because that's a big thing now with our kids.
It is. If you don't understand social media as a parent, you don't understand a big part of your child's life.
And a lot of parents don't really understand social media, so they teach you that. It's a really, really great class, Essence of Mana's parenting class.
Yeah, and I think we kind of fly through this every week, and we read the basic information, but listening to the interview that you did with Britt as we were coming in, I was like, man, there's things to that program that I think need to be said. So, very valuable program. It's free for everybody. Free parking, free food, childcare, everything. So, again, Nani Wilson at 650-243-4850 if you would like more information on that, or to pre-register for the classes that start August 8th. Samoan Solutions endeavors to maintain Samoa as a teaching tool and a means of uniting the Samoan people through cultural, educational, and community building events. Epi Amavai is the founder, and together with Whangamisa, they've grown the grassroots organization into a staple in the San Francisco Bay Area PI community each year with great programs like Whangongo o Samoa, big hit this year. The Turkey Trot, still got that to come. And the Illuminati Scholarship. So we love and salute our sisters over there. Thank them for the programs that they provide for the community and the guidance they've given us as a young nonprofit organization. They've been in the game 10 years, and we've benefited from information and experience that they've got through time. They've been able to give us shortcuts to avoid some of the pitfalls that could have been out there for us. So our first song is from a native Sacramentan, right? Finn Gruva?
Yeah, he's from Sacramento.
And it's called, well, Naki's going to let you know about the song, and then she's going to play it.
Yeah, so our next song is from Finn Gruva. It's Back to You. I believe he'll be at the Island Reggae Jam August 1st at the Santa Clara County Fair. You're listening to the Faika Podcast. We'll be right back.
You say you want me to leave, but then you go and call me right back. I don't understand how you do me like that, and I'm still running back to you. Sometimes I make you hate me. I don't mean to test your patience. No, I don't mean to ever let you down. Just give me your love and let me hold you down. Every day, every night, every hour doesn't seem to be enough. Love and hate to say my name. I'm running to you. I'm running back to you. I don't know why. I'm running back to you. You say you want me to leave, but then you go and call me right back. I don't understand how you do me like that, and I'm still running back to you. You say you want me to leave.
And we're back. You're listening to the Faika podcast. I'm Naki. In the studio with me is Carl.
Good morning. Good morning.
And Neo.
Good morning, family.
So that you were listening to Finn Groova, Back to You. I love that song. I always love everything. So there you go. There's nothing I don't like. Carl was going to do his check-in.
So I was in Columbus this week, and forget the meeting. I'm gonna talk about American Airlines.
Oh my God.
What's going on with American Airlines?
So I had 4 flights on American. I had in those 4 flights, I had 3 delays and 1 flight cancellation.
Man.
I did not get into my hotel room until 2:00 on Wednesday.
In the morning?
2:00 in the morning. So I went to the airline. Left for the hotel. My Lyft picked me up at 5 a.m. on Tuesday. I got into my hotel at 2 a.m. on
That's a long day.
Wednesday.
Yeah. American
That's a long
sucks.
day.
American sucks. Balls. Like big balls.
Horrible.
Stinky balls.
Let's see.
Hairy balls.
I better come
hairy
up.
balls.
I better come up with water. If the more I say, the worse things come out of Naki's mouth. So on the way
Insane.
back, I had my flight delayed twice, and then I got
Wait, coming home?
Yeah, coming home. Leaving.
Wow.
Actually, no, leaving. Leaving Columbus was okay, and then I had 3 delays of the same flight. Where was I? I flew to Phoenix. So I've had, in 5 months, I've had this new position. I've had more problems with flights than I had in 10 years with Southwest. I didn't know how good. I always heard that they're reliable and they're on time and all that, but I flew them, and that's really the only airline that I knew for so long that I didn't. You don't appreciate what you got till it's gone.
Right.
Yeah,
And
so true.
now I've got a trip coming up this week. It's both trips there, both flights there, or the one flight there is American, and the flight back is American.
Wow.
I actually don't expect to get through both of those without some kind of problem.
Your travel department can't get you on a Southwest flight going out that way, or?
Well, the problem is it's to Dallas, and the hub is DFW. That is actually an American hub. So
yeah.
it's cheaper there. Love's Field for Southwest is also in Dallas, but the flights are a little more expensive coming from the West Coast. So, that was
business
my
sense. American is the way you have to go, right?
Yeah, just the cost. But I mean, we had the issues where Officer Toa Malama Scanlon had gotten shot in Fresno, and then he was
American Airlines sucks.
He was in different facilities. He was in Houston. He was in L.A. He was in the Bay Area. He was here in San Francisco. He was all over the place. So the family was really challenged to get to his side, to get to bedside, to show him the love, to be there, to put their hands on him, all those things that are important with a recovering patient. And the wife, right, Mata, was using flight benefits, and they canceled them.
On American.
There
you go.
So I didn't like American a couple of years ago when we had the whole Officer Scanlon thing come up, and then this just solidifies that. So I am grateful for a whole bunch of things. I mean, I got off of a plane that got grounded because it wasn't safe, so I'm glad I didn't fly on that unsafe plane.
Yeah.
I'm glad
And I read that you said people were complaining.
There were people complaining. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we get off the plane, and people are like, they said it's unsafe, and it got grounded, unfit to fly. And people
they were still complaining.
Yeah, they're still complaining. I'm like, what would you rather find that out at 35,000 feet?
Exactly.
I mean, it wasn't the best thing in the world, but
damn.
So there's some things that I can find the grateful pieces of that, but man, I'm getting just tired of sitting in an airport, plugging my phone in, looking for an outlet.
Wow, I hate that too.
Bugging Naki because I got.
Yeah, so
she's like, "What are you doing?"
We text and talk, like we text all day because we're doing PBD and Faika stuff, and I swear to you, all the time he flies, he has a delay, he always has a delay.
I cannot.
And like I remember when he flew with Southwest, I think there was just like one time there was an incident, but that's it.
Yeah.
And since he switched over to American, it's like every time he flies, some kind of bullshit happens.
They got to do better, man.
They got to do better.
I spent the night in the Seattle airport one night. I ended up flying to Seattle, landed at 1, and got stuck there from 1 to 7. So, 1 to 6:30. And that was actually
Pacific Heritage.
Polynesian Heritage
luncheon.
The luncheon that we were emceeing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back, but it was just like, well, the only thing you can do is go to Seattle and then wait 5 hours or 6 hours.
And this airline has been around forever.
Yeah.
Right? You would think they'd get better.
They suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the memories come up in on Facebook, and I can see at one point I had a stretch on Facebook, and this is like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, and I was doing it on my status. I was like, this is flight number 17, no delay, no cancellation for Southwest, and it's gone through, and I saw that it made it to 44. I had 44 consecutive flights with Southwest that weren't delayed, weren't canceled, weren't nothing. Everything was perfectly on time.
American, it's every
I can't get
other,
4. You can move the decimal point. Don't forget 44. If you just got 4 right, I'd be happy.
And they can't even.
I'm thankful for a whole bunch of stuff, so I put that in my. It's not as important as I probably make it in the moment, but that was my week. American sucks.
American.
They're going to do better this week.
They'll do better. I can feel it.
And if I had a free flight, even on American, and I had time right now, I would fly over because it is day 9, I believe, on Mount Mauna Kea in Hawaii, where the protests are still in place. They're still on the roads. They're still trying to block progress, and that really heated up this week. I saw that on all levels, on CNN.
Oh my God, it's crazy,
NBC, Fox,
crazy.
all of those.
Well, they're trying to build on their sacred land. So Mauna Kea, is it UH?
Mauna Kea is on the Big Island.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they're trying to build on the mountain a telescope that's like 98 feet tall or something like that.
TMT is 30 meters.
Sacred.
The 30-meter telescope is what they call it.
Sacred ground.
30 meters across.
They're protesting and blocking roads and preventing, stopping construction there. So, and they're arresting people. And it's so sad to me because it's been the, older people, Makua, that are up there and they're crying over their land and they're crying over the sacred mountain. And it's just, it's so, it's so sad.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of, there's a whole bunch of different angles to this. There are a whole bunch of observatories already up there because it is one of the tallest mountains in the world.
Right.
It's not the highest above sea level. Everybody thinks of Mount Everest as being the highest. Mount Everest is the highest above sea level, but when you take from base to tip, so the base of Mauna Kea is underneath the ocean, the top of the ocean. When you go from base of Mauna Kea to the top, it is bigger than Mount Everest. It's just that all of Mount Everest is on land. Yeah, it's exposed. But they've had, I think there's like 15 different observatories up there. It is one of the highest points in the world. So it's a great place for a telescope.
There were 15 already there.
There's a number of them already there.
So why wasn't there this much attention when those 15 started?
Yeah, I don't know that they're on the peak, the actual location that the TMT is what they're calling it is going to go is the issue. But I think that, honestly, I just think that society is more sensitive to that now.
Yeah.
So this
and I
actually,
think the word sacred,
right?
You
Yeah.
know, is gotta play a big part. You just don't fuck with people's sacred ground.
Yes.
And they don't get it.
I was reading that there's astronomers and physicist societies that are writing letters. And these are, I mean, it's astronomy. That's
Yeah.
Right.
what they're trying, the science that they're trying to further by building that up there.
Right.
And they're getting letters from around the world. And there's the astronomers and the physicists are against that.
Yeah.
So there is that, but there are a whole bunch of Hawaiians that believe that they want Hawaii to be the cutting edge of astronomy, and
Yeah.
they want that there. Their jobs involved.
Right.
And here's the thing that I noticed when I lived in Hawaii. There was a sovereignty movement, a really big, and it wasn't really young, but I mean, in terms of getting in the public eye, it was young. And there was a big discussion about you were sending officers there to arrest protesters for the sovereignty movement. This is in the early to mid 90s.
Right. I remember that.
But the discussion was like, look at the cops. Like, where do they stand on the concept of sovereignty?
Right.
Some of the cops are like, look, I've got a job to do.
Yeah.
I'm 100%
I know.
in supportive of the
Yeah.
sovereignty movement.
Yeah.
But
I still gotta do my job.
Yeah, I swore
Yeah.
a job to do.
Yeah.
So they get
Yeah.
caught in the middle, and then there are Hawaiian scientists that are, some are for, some are against.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just so in the eye. You've got Tulsi Gabbard making statements. You've got Bernie Sanders making statements. And then it comes, the more I read about it, the more I just started to think, has it become something for politicians to
of
stand
course,
on
of
and
course.
say, I have,
Yeah.
I've got this position on this because it's the hot topic of the moment.
And what is the benefit of having that up there?
The
That you
benefit
can
is,
see-
the benefit is that they're going to be able to see. It's interesting reading that. I didn't read any further, but to look into the past of how universes and galaxies were formed. So it's a vantage point that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, but you're talking about a nation of people who have been just raped and, pushed aside. And now, this is sacred land that they're desperately trying to hold on to. And
So technically,
again,
the land is called ceded land, CEDED. So it was ceded when, when the takeover happened, when they went from a territory to a
Right.
state. This was land that was ceded to the United States, to the federal government.
yeah.
And the reason that land was ceded to the U.S. government was for the better of the Hawaiian people. So they were going to maintain or preserve it. And then you have this happening,
Right,
and it's like,
and that's not maintaining
This
or
is ceded
preserving.
land. Like
Right.
you took it
Right.
from us to help us and help
And now
help
you're
preserve
taking it
things.
away.
So, I'm
and then you read a lot of comments about our people, right? They're saying, yeah, well, look at Samoa, China is going to be the next Samoa.
Oh.
They're starting to think about these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Like people who are taking over their lands, but
Yeah.
so that's more likely to happen in Samoa
right.
than
it
American
is-
Samoa.
We're already taken over by
So that's the what I read about Mauna Kea. The organizers are saying that it's not gonna stop the building of it.
Yeah.
The protesters they say otherwise. But
yeah.
I really feel for the police officers that are, they're like caught in the
Hawaiian,
middle,
yeah.
and they're Hawaiian, and their fight, their heart is for
Their
the
people,
protesters,
yeah.
their people, but their livelihood and their family, the money, they need to do their jobs in order to support their family. I read somewhere where the governor, I can't even say his
Daniel
name.
Ige,
Governor
David Ige, I think.
it was bringing over National Guards, and like I could be wrong with the number, but like 500 are coming from Samoa, and 500.
They've kept them unarmed.
Yeah.
They've done a good job of the state enforcers that are there unarmed. I mean, you can see they're trying to handle this as much. Not as softly as possible, but
Yeah.
like they don't want things blowing
No
up and becoming where
violence.
somebody
Yeah.
gets shot and those kind of things. But I remember seeing a picture in the Honolulu Star Bulletin during the sovereignty movement, and it was a Hawaiian cop crying, and he was arresting. He was arresting.
Oh, that hurts my heart.
A sovereignty movement protester, and so both people were crying.
Oh.
And the question was how, just how hard is this on both sides,
Right.
on the cop side, if he's Hawaiian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously he was the article read that he was 100% Hawaiian, 100% for the sovereignty movement, but he's got to feed his family, and he swore a job to protect the state constitution, those kind of things.
That's that breaks my heart.
Those are things that you just don't have. Not that you wouldn't have, but I think those are aspects of these kind of things that people don't think about. That both sides of those battle lines at the point of the protest,
right?
Both sides are Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
our heart goes out to that whole situation.
Whole situation. Hopefully they come to some kind of. I mean, it's already a done deal. It really is, right? It's paperwork.
It's been a done deal for a long time.
Yeah.
There were protests in 2012 and 2014 over the same thing, and now they're moving forward. But just because they lost the protests in 2012 and they lost, doesn't mean there's a whole new battle line, whole new conflict. So who knows how it ends up? One of the biggest things that stood out to me is the number. It's a $2 billion project. That's hard. Those are things that are hard to stop.
That money, it's hard to stop when you have your investors.
So it's going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Do you think there'll be bloodshed?
I
hope not.
I hope not.
I don't know that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, because it really is a passionate subject with all our people, right? You are desecrating land that already a lot of us are fighting just to keep our land.
Yeah.
And, what is that saying to the generation of young people that are waiting in the wings, right? And is it progress because we're going to put a telescope up there that can see into our past, or is it our ancestors who have cultivated, and who have kept our cultures alive? It just seems like, progress is always going to win out over indigenous ways of living and thinking.
Yeah. Reading the ceded part, it seems like legally there should be some way that's a good position for them to stand on, that's ceded land that came with the change from a territory to a state. And if it was for the better of the people, I mean, I don't know if that was the way that was written, but that was the way that it was written. I was looking and going, that's ironic that it would be kept and transferred in ownership to the government so that they can preserve it for the people, and then they go build whatever they want. But there are Hawaiians that believe in it. There are Hawaiians that believe in the telescope, and scientists that want the Hawaiian, the Mauna Kea, and the mana of Hawaii to be associated with the discoveries that'll come with the telescope. So it's a tough situation, but
all prayers, right?
All prayers, and that's, my heart goes out to everybody up there on both sides, because that's got to be that's that Civil War thing where two brothers end up fighting each other and they're on different sides. There's people up there that how tight knit the Samoan community is. There's probably people up there that are related. Like that's my cousin over there on that side of the that side
They're
of
so
the topic.
passionate about what they believe in to be right.
Yeah. Boy, the outreach on social media was huge.
Crazy. That's all I see on my news feed is that. And I'm so heartbroken over really just the Native Hawaiians that are fighting to keep
the
that
sovereignty of who they are.
Microscope or whatever. Telescope up there. And just the pictures of people crying, and from, the older people
Kapunas.
What?
The kapunas, the Hawaiian elders.
Okay.
The kapunas were on the front lines. They were sitting. They put themselves. It's not like they were protesters made them sit up there, but the kapunas put chairs on the highway and sat there, and then some of the other people chained themselves to a grate that was in the middle of the road.
I did see one of the elders. Kapunas, they were arresting him.
Yeah.
And it was kind of touching. Well, it was touching, but the police officers were so respectful because I don't know how he got up there, but he was walking so slow. Like, like he had a hard time getting up that mountain.
Wow.
And so they were escorting him off to, I guess they were arresting him, but they were walking with him really slow and helping him across. It was so sad.
That was one of the
sad.
officers?
No, well, yeah. One of the officers were helping one of the elders to the car.
Yeah.
They were arresting him, and he was walking slow. It looked like he had a hard time walking. And I was like, can you imagine how long it took him to get up that mountain? And now, they're being respectful and walking with him, but it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, my heart breaks
Mm-hmm.
for them. This is just very on a small scale, but we have property in Kafunga. It's private property. And on that property where my mom is at, there's what could have been a star mound, or it's just a bunch of rocks that have been placed, and people have said, just, when you go to build your house, or just, just take it down, and, you'll have more access to more pieces of land. And,
right.
But in my heart, I'm like, no, that looks like something that shouldn't even be touched.
Yeah.
Right.
That there's a reason why these rocks were built up so high. And
Placed a certain way.
So I totally get the fight that they're going through, because some people are just so passionate about keeping, that intact.
Yeah.
But then there's progress.
That's progress for ya.
Sanders said in a tweet, Bernie Sanders, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, said in a tweet since deleted. So this was tweeted, then
he deleted
deleted.
it?
We must guarantee Native people's right to self-determination and their right to protest. I stand with Native Americans who are peacefully demonstrating to protect their sacred mountain of Mauna Kea. No response from the campaign as to why it was deleted. And then Hawaii Congressman Tulsi Gabbard followed Sanders in supporting protesters. Gabbard said in a statement, Governor Ige should withdraw the emergency declaration and sit down with protesters. Trust must be earned. It is wrong that state leaders have approved the development of a new telescope on a new site on Mauna Kea without first ensuring the timely removal of decommissioned facilities along with full restorations of those sites. So there is something, and I don't know exactly what it is, but once the governor declared a state of emergency, then it becomes a state-controlled facility. But the protesters aren't in front of the facility. They're blocking an access road at the bottom. So they're not allowing equipment and machinery and those kind of things to travel up to the site.
Yeah, it's sad. So our prayers and our support totally go out to our brothers and sisters in Hawaii.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah. There was these kind of protests with the H3, the Cross Island H3 in Oahu. And because they said they were going over Heiau's Hawaiian graveyards.
Oh, my gosh.
And, hey, the highway's there.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, it still happened. I don't know what that... maybe they moved the graveyards. I don't know.
Probably. I hope so.
I would hope.
Break time.
Break time.
Psalm 1 language and culture class are happening every Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It will run every Friday until August 30th. They are located at 3715 26th Street in San Francisco. You want to park behind the church on Cesar Chavez. They have a parking lot at Cesar Chavez. For more information, please call 415-879-0148. Support for our broadcast comes from Utopia, United Territories of Pacific Islander Alliance, Asian American Recovery Services, All My Usos, and DPR. Our next song is coming to you from Levi Boasa. I love all his songs. My favorite one is Boyfriend, but we're going to share Midnight with you, and he is a Maui boy, and play his song. So Levi Poasa, Midnight City. You're listening to the Faika Podcast. We'll be right back.
Well, she came home at midnight. to get over. Yeah, over. Yeah, yeah, over. It only took one moment, the last moment we had, and our mistakes we owned them, was given we gave back, and always picked the same road. It was always eye to eye, and we always found the answers, but we never questioned why. Oh, it's one of those things, got to get over. Yeah, it's one of those things,
Mike's wrong.
got to
And
get
we're
over.
back. You're listening to the Faika podcast. That was Levi Boassa with Midnight City. I'm Naki, and in the studio with me is Carl,
Good morning. Good morning.
Neo,
Hey, family.
and joining us this second hour, we have Daniel, Nava.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Let's go again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yay!
Hey, there you go.
So Daniel is joining us. He is with Asian American Recovery Services Project Ohana, really.
Yes,
Yes.
Project Ohana in the Bay.
So Daniel, tell us everything about you.
Okay, so overwhelming. Everything. So I guess where I'm from, I was born in a little town called Live Oak in Northern California.
Live Oak.
Pretty much born and raised there. My dad moved there roughly that area when he was 8 years old. So that's where he was born and raised. My mom was born and raised in the town directly north of my town, in a town called Gridley. So she was born and raised there.
Oh, dang.
So what is the population of that?
My small town in Live Oak, I don't know what it was when I was growing up. Currently, I think it's at 8,000 people.
Wow.
Whoa.
So it's
That
like
is a small town.
everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Everyone I grew up with, their parents grew up with, my aunts or uncles or
Wow.
parents. So
Okay.
there was a long history of people knowing each other.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so it was good. It was I always had actually a lot of my friends' parents I grew up with them being like extra parents and part of them, and so it's like sometimes talking to people I know, like when I'd say like I'd hang out at my friend's house when they weren't even there, just because they're it was like family. So it was like, I was actually talking to one of my best friends I've known since first grade, and I was trying to remember why I was at her house watching TV with her dad, and she goes, "Where was I?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but him and I were watching TV." So
Okay.
so that's pretty much where I was born and raised, and my dad is one of 8 children.
Oh,
My
wow.
Big
mom was
family.
one of 4 technically. She has a lot of half siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was always a large family, always at one family's house or another.
Wow.
Are they
A lot
all
of
in
gathering.
Live Oak?
A lot of them are still in Live Oak.
Oh, nice.
A lot of family have moved a little out, but not too far. Like I have a few family members down in Southern California, Vegas, and then Georgia, one aunt.
So
But-
what is like the employment situation like in Live Oak? I mean, what did people do for
What did people
work?
do? A lot of
Is it
agriculture, right?
agriculture?
Yeah, it is. It is a large agricultural
Oh,
area.
okay.
I did grow up with a lot of friends who their family was in agriculture, but
Okay.
a lot of people just work just other odd jobs, just kind of things
For-
that are available.
For a reference point, Gridley and Live Oak are about halfway between Sacramento and Chico.
Yeah,
On
so
that
they're
line?
closer to Chico. So about
Okay.
45 minutes north is when you'll start hitting Live Oak and Gridley.
Okay.
Wow.
The weather really nice.
It's hot. I love hot weather. Like 90 and 100 degree. I'm
well, not
happy.
that hot.
I'm still wearing jeans.
Wow.
Oh, dang.
So yeah, I'm used to that hot weather.
Wow.
So,
I like it.
And you have your parents have a.
Oh yeah, we have well, in my town is a small store, the Penny Candy Store.
Oh, wow.
And it's been there since I was born.
Oh, geez. Have your parents owned it the whole time?
No, my parents got it when I went off to college in 2003.
Oh, wow.
But the store has been there probably since the 2000s. I mean, since the mid 70s.
Oh, wow.
We're not too sure because it used to be a ceramic store.
Oh, wow.
And it just kind of like it was a family that lived there. If you go to the store, it just looks like a house. Like outside is painted all like red and white and nice. Like it looks like, oh, okay, cool little store. What is that? Okay, the candy and the shaved ice window outside.
Nice.
And you go inside, you can kind of see how it's pieced together into, like, okay, this looks like it was a house at one time.
Yeah.
And it was. And so like the family used to live in back and then have their ceramics up front, and they'd even have like pottery classes and everything.
Oh, wow.
And that was in the early 70s, and then they transitioned into candy. And then the back where we actually have our fridge for sodas, it's actually in a doorway, and that doorway would lead to where they used to have pinball machines.
Oh, wow.
And so we have like family members and other people that like remember going back there. But then in the 80s, it then became a full candy store.
Oh, okay. Nobody lives in the back.
No, that's all storage for candy.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
No one lives there anymore. So yeah, so pretty much, yeah, I don't have a sweet tooth. Like I love chocolate and peanut butter, but I really don't have a sweet tooth for most candies.
Wow.
So when I
Nice.
got to that store, when my parents after college, I went over there to help them, and my dad had acquired a pizza place, a take and bake pizza place as well.
Oh, nice.
Mainly they got the stores because they knew that eventually my dad, he was a supervisor of 90 acres of prune orchards.
Oh, wow.
So he knew eventually the owners were going to retire and sell the farm.
Right.
And so my mom was like, well, I guess I better go. She was a stay-at-home mom, so she was like, I better go and look for a job to, help support us. And so when he, they sold the farm, he then just got a pizza place, which was directly across the street from the candy store.
Oh, nice.
So they could still because my dad, our house was at the corner of where he worked.
Wow.
So he would
wow.
come home for lunch every day
So you
and
had
see
pizza,
my mom.
Nice.
candy.
Yes, exactly. We would have it all.
Oh, that's awesome.
Had a lot of friends.
Yeah. Yes. Well, this was after college, so it was like a lot of family, like a lot of friends. Like they were like, "Wait, your family now owns it? Wait,
Yeah.
when did this happen?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was off in college and it happened."
And where was
Awesome.
college?
I went to UC Berkeley.
Nice.
So I went there and studied.
Okay.
Was that a
like,
culture shock for you coming from a small little town to UC Berkeley?
My culture shock happened the summer before my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
I joined an Upward Bound program. My aunt knew one of the coordinators, and they were all like, "No, have him apply, and we'll see if he can, join."
Is that in Humboldt?
No, it was in San Diego State.
Oh.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a
Wow.
summer program. It was my first time leaving home.
Oh, my
Oh, my
God.
And my
Oh,
little
San
town
Diego.
of
Wow.
my little town of Live Oak is at that time when I was growing up was a majority was like about half of the population was white, and then the rest was a mix of Mexican or Latinos, and then East Indians or Indians, mainly Punjabi.
Oh.
So I was mainly used to seeing a lot of white people, and then when I went down to
San Diego
for the Upward Bound program, there was 0 white people, and I was like, "Where am I? Who are all these people? Where are you from?" Like I finally
That's
learned
awesome.
there's a world out there.
Oh,
And
that's
so
awesome.
That was my culture shock, and it was funny because my mom went with me, and she just looked at me, just looking at her like, "Where did you bring me?"
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
I fell in love. Like
Yeah.
that's where I learned that I'm like I love talking to people, meeting new people,
Yeah.
and I really can like throw me out of my element, and
Uh-huh.
I'll eventually swim.
Yes.
So yeah,
Sounds
so that was
good.
my culture shock. So then actually that at Upward Bound there was the neighboring dorm. They had a summer bridge program for individuals going from transitioning from high school to college. And so before I went to Berkeley, I found out that Berkeley had a summer bridge program.
Oh, awesome.
And so I was like, you know what? I know I'm a small town guy coming from a small, high school. I need help in transitioning.
Yeah.
So I
That's
joined this,
awesome.
I applied for the summer bridge program and got in. And that helped me like make Berkeley so much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So that was good.
awesome.
But yeah, so back to the candy store. I was after college. I just went there. I decided to help my parents since they were, working 24/7. They worked 7 days a week at the stores.
Oh, wow.
And the pizza place. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to come and help them. So I helped at the candy store mainly because I didn't want to smell like pizza dough.
And what's wrong with that?
I know, right? So I was kind of like hesitant in going to the pizza place.
Right.
And then I just started enjoying the candy store, meeting people and talking to people. It was a very interesting transition going from the city of Berkeley and then back to a small town.
Yeah.
It was easy to be home, but it was hard not having the social life anymore.
Yeah.
And so luckily YouTube came around at that time, and that was my escape.
I did see your videos.
Oh,
I've
did
seen
you?
your videos. They're so cute.
It was mainly just a way of trying to promote the store. So
Right.
I watched a lot of YouTube, and I was like, you know what? Let's give this a try. I made a few friends on there, and they were like, go for it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know who's going to watch this, whatever. And it was just weird that, people were responding to it.
That's awesome,
I was like, oh my
though.
gosh, I don't even know who you are. But, cool. But I
so
developed
cool.
the sweet tooth because of the videos.
What?
So,
Because you had to try stuff.
yeah, I had to eat the candy. So I do like a review. Like, okay, this is my first time having this. And I give a review on the candy and give a little history on the candy. And so a lot of the videos, the candy is my first time eating that candy.
Oh, wow.
Because I just didn't have sweet tooth.
Dang, it wouldn't
Favorite
have been
type
mine.
of pizza?
I enjoy just pepperoni. I'm a very simple person with most things.
I like that. I like
Carl
that.
is like that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pepperoni.
I like mushrooms. I like olives. I like other stuff, and I'll eat them if they're on a piece of pizza. But if I have my choice, it's just pepperoni.
Pepperoni, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that actually helps me know if it's a good pizza place. Like, if they can make a good pepperoni, if they fail on a pepperoni, then
Yeah.
I don't want to eat here.
Yeah.
It's like the
Oh,
scrambled
good,
eggs of pizza.
good.
Like you
That's
mess
good.
that up.
Exactly. I'm not too confident on your other skills.
No.
But yeah,
Oh.
but actually a combination pizza from my dad's pizza place was a very close contender.
So here we
Oh,
go.
me
Here's a
too.
connoisseur right here. So where's a good place to get a pizza
Yeah,
here in the
here.
Bay Area for you?
I haven't found.
Oh!
I don't. I have actually after my dad closed our pizza place because he had to take care of my grandmother who was getting dementia, so we had to close it down. And after that, my whole family, like, we have withdrawals because we were addicted to his pizza.
San Francisco, he's calling you out.
I know.
The pizza
If
community.
you know a pizza place, I am down. Even if a take and bake, if there's one in the area, I'm tempted to try it just because the one unique thing was that my dad put the cheese on the top. So like all the ingredients were kind of locked in. And so it was pretty enjoyable that way.
I have to take you to Bravo's or
Have you been
Well,
to Bravos?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
they're
God.
actually-
They're closed?
I think they're-
Are they closed?
well,
Wait, what?
There
Hold-
was,
with
there was
breaking news here.
Yeah, you can Google it. There was the health department, I think.
Shut them down?
Okay, I just heard it. I didn't read it, but
Oh, shit. Let
we
me
Google
Google.
it? I think
shit.
they're maybe on hiatus. I don't know.
Are you
Yeah.
serious? Oh
I mean,
my
it is good pizza.
But it is an old place.
Yeah, they just needed a little upgrading of. I mean, yeah, they needed upgrading.
Bravo's shut down.
I would
Shut
Google
the
and see.
door.
Carl's all
Somebody
like-
told me that. I was like,
Uh-huh.
what? They go, yeah, the health department came in and I was like, okay.
this shows that as 2016.
Oh,
So it could be a urban legend. Is that
urban
what it's-
legend.
Yeah,
I was like,
let me
oh my
call me.
God.
I
But
don't know.
they do need to remodel.
Yeah.
Where's it located?
It's on Geneva and Mission.
Okay.
It's like
It's been there
near
forever.
the corner. Forever.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
They
Oh,
need
my
a
nieces
remodel
lived-
though because
they grew up on that.
their
We did.
booths are the same booths that when I was
Yeah, you
young.
sink in.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You went to Berkeley, right?
Yes.
Did you ever go to Blondie's?
Oh,
I
Blondie's.
liked
is-
Fat Slice more.
Okay.
I would go
Okay.
there for late night pizza over
Fat
Blondie's. I don't know
Slice.
why I had a preference, but I did.
But it still it doesn't compare to your dad's pizza.
No, when
Yeah.
once I was actually my dad's biggest critic. Like his pepperoni was okay,
Yeah.
and his rest of his combination, everything. I was like, still needs work.
Yeah.
And then one day I went home and I brought it back with me back to college,
Uh-huh.
and I threw it in the oven, and I shared it with my neighbor, and her and I just was like, oh my gosh.
I know.
And I called
see?
him up. I'm like, you've done it. Like this
You
is the
found the
perfect
secret,
combination pizza I've ever had in my life.
What years were you
love
at Berkeley?
combination.
I was there from 2002 to 2006.
2002, 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So over, I don't know, already 20, almost 2 decades.
Oh, dang.
So
No,
did you
it's-
become a protester and
I wasn't very
active in?
active
Yeah?
at Berkeley. I think, what did I do? I don't know. I was mainly molecular and cell biology. Really had a lot of my time with studying and doing a lot of locking my way inside of a library. But
very good.
I did
Good boy.
right.
So
I
let's
don't
walk
know.
back
After
through
we talk
that.
about the sex,
Yeah.
Let's walk back through the major. Your major was
Molecular and cell biology.
right.
Yeah.
No.
Not
What is
underwater
that?
It's a
basket
mouthful.
weaving.
It's
or- oh my
Yeah,
god.
is that like pizza?
Pretty much just I loved biology, and it was just learning more about the cell and how it works and how it functions and the mysteries that still surround the cell, because a lot of times it was very interesting, different people when they're at college, like sometimes you have a professor who is like that foremost knowledgeable person
Right.
in that field, and it's just like, oh wow, cool. And I had a lot of that with my science professors. Like they were the ones that like discovered certain things, or their names were in certain parts or chapters of the books.
Wow.
And it was just like, and like one of the professors, he discovered this chain reaction of how one cell, when gestation would start, how one cell would activate into splitting to the next cell, and then that would activate the cascade of what cells would become what and doing what. And one day he's explaining it, and he goes, so this cell activates this cell, and that cell activates this cell, and then something happens over here, and then this cell activates this cell, and this cell activates that, and then someone's like, whoa, rewind. He goes, okay, yeah, you heard me. Yeah, we still don't know how that activates and when it activates over here, but we know it happens at this time.
It's interesting how scientists will, good scientists will admit when there's blanks, right? There's a gap that we don't understand how this happens between here and there.
Yeah.
I consider that I don't know, an intelligent professor that's not trying to fill in the blanks,
Right.
kind of with, you know what I mean? Like, and just saying, we're not sure.
Yeah,
Science
exactly.
doesn't have that. There's a gap there.
If they don't let their egos get the best of them, and
That's
they're
it.
able to admit,
Right.
their flaws
Yeah.
and
Their
their
flaws,
faults.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
That
And I
makes a
actually
good
was
teacher.
lucky that I was part of Biology Scholars Program, which was kind of a science organization for minorities or underrepresented individuals to kind of come together and make Berkeley smaller in the sciences, just because it was a very hard field to be in for most minorities. So it actually created a great community and like letting you know which professor to go to and which one not to. And so there were
Nice.
certain ones in like the chemistry field that I avoided just because their egos were way too big, that you weren't going to learn anything, or you had to pretty much know what they wanted you to know but didn't expand more. So I was pretty lucky that people were like, yeah, don't go there, go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a Yelp review of professors, right?
But,
Yeah.
Like, this is the way that, and I guess some students might learn well under that format of like very rigid and very, not short-sighted, but very within the lines. Some students may look at that and go, that's the kind of teaching that I don't know, I relate to, or or I can connect with, whereas others might be like, that's definitely not who I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, one great piece of advice I always hear is take the professor, not the class. So that always helps.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's always
that's very good.
some
Take the
good
professor,
yeah.
not the class.
So you have
Gotta
some
pass that on.
professors that can make the most boring topic ever extremely, interesting and exciting, and then you have other ones that, that, what was it, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Bueller, you know what I mean? It's like, doesn't matter what that person's teaching, it's going to be boring.
Exactly.
And so from college, you came to Project Ohana, or how did you?
Right after 2006, I graduated from Berkeley, and I was planning to go to graduate school right afterwards. I was going to take a year off because I hadn't had like any time off since the
Break,
summer
yeah.
before my senior year of high school. I had done classes ever since. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break, help my parents at the candy store or maybe the pizza place, and then I'll apply for graduate school. And during the process of applying, I got sick.
Oh.
I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So it's pretty much my own immune system won't recognize my large intestine as being a part of me anymore.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, that's how my doctor, they're all like, it's like you're a transplant patient that you got a new kidney and your body's rejecting it. But the problem is it's your kidney.
Kidney, yeah.
And so it's my large intestine. So it's
wow.
It's probably those, what are those diseases called that everyone has, their bowel? Oh, I forget, IBS.
Oh,
those
irritable
kind of
bowel
things. Yeah,
syndrome.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those categories. But mine is pretty much, it's triggered by stress. So luckily I don't stress too much. So
Don't stress too much.
as long as I don't stress, it will some people are affected by food or certain conditions. Mine is just stress. So
oh, wow.
but yeah, I lost like 20 pounds in a week and a half just because
oh my God.
my body was just attacking my intestine and it just couldn't absorb any food anymore. So I was literally just like wasting away. And so I kind of put things on hold. And then just after that, I was like, you know what? Well, it took a while to get better. And so I just stayed at the candy store and then started going full time in with the pizza place as well. And so I was like, you know what? I'm happy here. I'm just going to stay here and figure things out.
Yeah.
And so I was there. I was, happily at the candy store and pizza place. And then 2017, a bunch of my college friends pretty much conspired together and convinced me to move to the Bay Area.
Oh, wow.
So that's actually how I eventually got over here. And I told my parents, I'm like, they want me to move over there. My friend Shristi, who she works here at Asian American Recovery Services, she actually had a position that she knew was available. And she was like, I can get you an interview. If you move over here, you can, apply. And I'm
So
like,
you
okay.
had already been in the Bay Area for school, but
Yes.
now you're talking about moving there to live there,
Exactly.
have a career there.
Exactly. Which was fine. I've always knew I was going to come back to the Bay Area eventually, and I guess it was finally time.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yes.
We would have never found you at the candy shop.
No,
we would have
no,
found
no.
you on YouTube maybe, but
Maybe.
actually I've stopped it in Gridley, Yuba, a
Okay,
whole
yeah.
bunch of those because I've always had in my area I've had stores in Yuba City, Chico, Redding, so I've driven that corridor on 99 and stopped in a
Yeah.
whole bunch of the little hole in the wall diner, little drive-in. There's a whole bunch of little burger drive-ins on those routes.
So yeah, you blinked
maybe I
and you
would've
missed
ran
my
into you.
town. You probably because it's right between. It's on 99 between Yuba City and Gridley.
Yeah.
So the big question: any Pacific Islanders living in town?
No.
You
I
have
don't
not
think-
seen.
Actually, no. There is actually one family the other a few months ago because I go back like at least twice a month during the weekends to give my mom some time off. So I'll work at the candy store, and there's this family that's been there for a while. And I just thought they were maybe Filipino, maybe Latino. I'm like, I couldn't tell, but I never asked. And one day they were like, oh, we're all visiting and we're so excited to have the woman who's always there. She brought all her family and they were happy to come to Hawaiian Shaved Ice. And like, it's real. We've been told it's real. I'm like, it's real. Like people from Hawaii tell us they love it and it's just as much, just tastes
as
just
good.
like back home.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, well, we're from Guam. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
I'm like, I know where that is. And they look at me like, you know where Guam is? I'm like, well, I can't like pinpoint exactly, but
Yeah.
I know what region you're in.
Yeah.
And they're like, most people are all like, where's that?
Oh, that's awesome.
That's nice.
Usually those conversations end with, where Hawaii is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Because you start out
Yeah.
like, Tahiti, Marquesan Islands, Solomon, Hawaii? You heard of Hawaii?
Yeah, they're like,
okay.
yeah.
Just think of Hawaii.
Yeah, just think of that. Yeah. But that was actually Upward Bound, the whole culture shock thing. I met a lot of people that were there that were actually from Samoa, American Samoa.
In San Diego.
In San Diego.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
were part of
Oh,
the
yeah.
program. And so I was all like, oh, wow. So that was my introduction. Like, oh, there's islands and people live there.
Right.
So how long was the Upward Bound project?
It was just a summer. It
A
was
summer.
6 weeks, and it was a science program. So
So
it was my first time,
Did you
learning
get
about science.
the whole San Diego experience, Balboa Island, the gas lamp, all
every
the...
weekend they would
Oh.
take us somewhere different and somewhere new within
Awesome.
San Diego. But I also already had two aunts that lived in the area, one in Temecula and one in Chula Vista.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I would already go since summer of my 7th grade year,
Uh-huh.
I would go for a week or two to go visit them with my brother.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so we would always venture off. And back then it was before 9/11 that we
Yeah.
would, easily jump over and have tacos in Tijuana.
Chula
Yeah.
Vista's real close to Mexico.
It's right there.
That's one of the last cities.
before
last
you.
cities before it says. You
Exactly.
see the sign that says "Last U.S. Exit."
Yeah.
And
My
that's why
mom lives there. So,
Okay. Nice.
so very tiny town.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really small, but I love it because they got really cheap stores down there. They got good stores down there, and it's cheap. I don't know why it's cheap, but it's cheap.
I love the Goodwills and stuff like that in small towns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Good
Yeah.
finds in there. So,
Good to know.
are we gonna break? Or are we gonna?
Up to you.
Yeah, we could break,
All right.
and then we'll come back and find out all about Project Ohana.
Cool.
Hmm.
Oh, we got words.
Yes.
Oh, you
Let's
do.
see announcements. The Wayfinder Scholarship is a collaboration of the Wayfinders brand and scholars, Professor Levalasi Loyan and Andrew Vai. Pacific Islander students in higher education, you have accepted your identity as a Wayfinder in pursuit of a college degree. As former students in higher education ourselves, we founded Students in Higher Education ourselves. We founded the Wayfinder Scholarship to recognize your work and support in this journey. Really cool scholarship. And when we had Professor Loyan and Andrew Vai in studio, seeing where that came from and kind of how they wanted that to be there for the PI students. My daughter is applying
Yay.
for the scholarship, so
Yeah.
we love what they're doing. And let's see, the Pacific Islander Wellness Initiative presents preventative counseling. Small things can make a big difference when it comes to mental health. Book your free consultation today. Clinician Tai Fa'aleava at 510-815-3351 or Faftai Fa'aleava at ramsinc.org. And we will put that on our social media so you
Yeah.
don't have to write that down.
Right. Our next song, our final song, is from Sydney King. It's her song Slide. Follow her on all social media outlets.
In my drop top, I see you flying cause you got it, so I know you ready. Why your ex tryna cock block? Say he miss you, he regretted you, the one he texting. Tell him that the past is the past and that you focus on your future. Tell him that he had his chance and he missed it, so I lucked up. Now let's start with 21 questions. I tell you all of my confessions, and if I ever needed you to lie, I know you got my back, so is you ready to ride? If I give you what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me? We could take it nice and slow. You ain't got no place to go. Ride for me, could you slide for me? See, I've been wasting all my time before I got with you, and now that you're finally here with me, you the one I'll always choose. Cause I've been peeping, I've been looking, I've been staring at you. Had me scheming, had me plotting, trying to be your lover. If you ever needed something, baby, know I got you. If you ever needed something, baby, know I got you. Let's start with 21 questions. I tell you all of my confessions, and if I ever needed you to lie, I know you got my back, so is you ready to ride? If I gave you what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me? Slow, you ain't got no place to go. Ride for me, could you slide for me? Baby, hop in my drop top. Baby, hop in my drop top. Why your ex tryna cock block? Say why your ex tryna cock? Say baby, hop in my drop top. Baby, hop in my drop top. Why your ex tryna cock block? Say why your ex tryna slide for me? If I give you what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me?
And we're back. You're listening to the Faika podcast. That was Sydney King, Slide for Me. I'm Naki, and in the studio with me, as always, is Carl.
Good morning, good morning.
And we also have Neil Vever
Good morning, family.
and Daniel. Hi,
Good morning.
Daniel.
Hello.
So we want to know everything about Project Ohana and what your mission is with Project Ohana.
Okay, yeah. So, kind of just jumping into Project Ohana in the Bay, it was my friend Shristi who said she had a place that I could kind of interview for, and they were struggling to just trying to have somebody because it was a very small team. It was 2 people, my colleagues Beamy and Jimmy, who were pretty much doing San Francisco County and Santa Clara County for their workshops and outreach. And they were spread very thin, and it's still with 3 people spread thin.
Yeah.
So I interviewed, and mainly they asked me like, well, why do you want to be here? What do you want to do here? And my main thing was I'd always wanted, if I did go into the public health route, because I always had friends pushing me that way. And I was like, no, I want to go science and lock myself in a lab and, fiddle with cells. They're like, no, that's not you. And I was like, okay. And so I interviewed, and the main thing I told them was like, I've been fortunate that I have been lucky in my life that there hasn't been very many struggles or difficulties that I've had to experience, and it's because so many people before me have made things so easy for me. Being Latino, for being gay, I haven't had any real struggles or issues, but there are people out there that are having struggles and issues, and I felt like I want to give back in some way. In that way, so that's why I told, like, in my interview, like, I was like, this is like the best way for me probably to give back is to help others in the communities. Mainly I was focusing on the LGBTQ plus community, but anyone else that are struggling communities to help. And that, I got the job, and I was like, yay. It was, I was a little nervous at first, mainly because I'd never facilitated or led any workshops before in the past. But, Beamy and Jimmy really helped me do that part and learn that part. I still think I'm learning, but they're telling me I'm doing good. I don't know.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so mainly Project Ohana in the Bay is mainly for us. We're doing it for representation. There is very little data and information when we're looking online for what substances are affecting certain communities in the Asian and Pacific Islander community. What sexual diseases or just what is going on in the community, there's little information. And the struggle is when we do find information, it's very general because most surveys or data just umbrella everyone under Asian. Maybe Pacific Islander, but it's just Asian, and it doesn't help. And so we, with our surveys and our data, we want people to represent their identities, their cultural background, their ethnicities, and that way we can then have a better understanding of where in the future with other grants, because we are federally funded, where they can be focused or localized to support those communities. Because it's like, look, this community is actually, really hitting, using alcohol a lot, and this community is vaping a lot. So, or this community is really, is really dabbling in this substance, or there's no information about, safe sex practices.
And are you geared more towards Pacific Islanders or just the whole API?
We are the whole. It's pretty much all API. We do tailor each workshop for the identity portion because it's a 7-week workshop and it's mainly 6 weeks. The 7th one is like a celebration, but the 6 weeks, the first one is on identity, and we do tailor that depending on who is in our workshop. Because sometimes we do have a large LGBTQ plus community, and so we tailor the conversation around that. Or sometimes we do have a all female conversation, and we tailor around that. And so if we have had a few cohorts that are Pacific Islander, only Pacific Islanders, and so we tailor the conversation around that, and we kind of bring up different topics and conversations that are not usually brought up with their families or friends, and kind of discuss that, because we want to open that door to realize that you might not think that certain stereotypes or prejudice that are affecting you can later cause you to abuse substances or alcohol. And mainly that's what, like, for one of the workshops or the identity one, when we're discussing when we have a large gay population of males, we discuss, because there's a lot of racism online with the gay community, especially against Asian people. you will
wow.
see in their profiles, no femmes, no Asians. And so that's internalized homophobia for those individuals that don't want feminine people, gay people. And then they have also listed no Asian, and their defense is it's a preference. I'm all like, you're like literally like an entire
excluding
like
a whole
population of people.
Yeah,
just
I
because
really hate when they say it's a preference.
but why just
it's
Asian?
just- yeah.
Do you see just Asian?
Yes, it's
wow.
very. It's very. Sometimes they'll be black, but it's very heavy with. I don't see it too much because a lot of those apps have been trying to
exclude
give that away
yeah.
and trying to remove that, but it has. There's actually quite a few YouTube videos of individuals, and we share those at the workshop that are discussing this, prejudice and racism within the gay community.
And I see, because I'm on several, and I do see, that it's predominantly white men that are on these apps, and normally the people of color that are on there, they're really young. I don't see a lot of older men of color, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or they're just not down to being on these apps or can't operate them.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that, and I really don't know why that is a thing.
Yeah, maybe we need data on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe something to research
Do you find
into.
a lot of stats on Pacific Islanders, or is that rare, or
That is rare.
do you find
That's
it inaccurate? Yeah.
It's just small data.
Yeah.
It's very. If I do research and find anything on when I'm trying to find data on Pacific Islanders within the U.S., it's non-existent, or
Right.
it's always sending me to the islands themselves, data and research that's done there. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I want to find in the U.S.
Yeah, I think
it's
it's
really
hard
hard.
to find data on, because we're so private and we're so don't want everybody in our bit, which is like everybody, but I think we're so it's
I
like
think
I
it's
don't know,
a stigma attached to
yeah.
that for the gay population.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of them that are on these apps. They don't have pictures and they don't share it. I normally, and I've said this before, when I go on there, I'm immediately either blocked or they just won't answer if I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah,
on?
'cause
Well,
they
not to
know
throw
you
this
or-
there, but also ageism. There is such a
there is
prejudice.
ageism
Yeah.
too.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. God
It's
forbid I
like-
tell them I'm 60. They're like, click.
Yeah. It's like once you're over 30, you're old.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like
Yeah.
it's very for the young people, the young gay community. If once you're over 30, like you're old, they don't want anything to do with you. So
Wow,
it's
that's a
very-
prejudice.
yeah. So there's a lot of this is what we bring up in our workshops at for the identity one. This is just one topic we bring up, and this is how we bring up this conversation because it's like, how does this affect you? Does it, you want to say it doesn't, but you're chatting with people and you're getting refused or blocked just because
Right.
of your identity of who you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
That's going to lead you to maybe drink a little heavily tonight when you go out
Right,
with friends,
right.
or do something you wouldn't have done that night just because you're like, oh, forget this.
So let's talk
Yeah.
about some of the sexual practices. Are you finding that because PrEP is so normally available now that we've become less responsible as far as sexual
Yes.
practices?
It's very weird. There is a lot less condom usage
Right.
with young adults because there is no longer this big fear about HIV.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can be on PrEP or you can, easily do PEP, which is the after exposure one. So if you thought you'd got, HIV exposure, you can take that one afterwards.
And what is that? Real quick, I don't even know what you're talking
So
about.
the pharmaceutical company Gilead has produced these medicines. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is pretty much a pill you take every day, and it's about 99% effective in stopping the contraction of HIV.
So
But not
if you,
other STDs.
Not
Yeah.
other STIs at all.
if you
no.
think that you've been come in contact with
HIV.
HIV, if you think that,
Yeah.
is it over the counter
no.
or you
So-
call your
so
doctor?
PrEP is before, so you will be on it every day.
Oh.
It takes about 7 days to take effective in your body,
Mm-hmm.
5 or 7 days, and then after that, you take it every morning or every day, consistently.
For how long?
For as long
For
as
life.
you are as the
Sexually active?
Yeah, if you're
Oh.
high risk, because it could be sexually active or drug users. So if you're a high risk, then or doing high risk activities, then you will be on PrEP. So I'm on PrEP just for
Safety.
safety.
I've never
so I
heard of
take-
that.
Okay.
And is it for just
It's for anyone and everyone. It's not
Oh.
for just the men who have sex with men. It's for heterosexual men and women as well. It's just if you're
oh my
so
God.
also
If
like
you're
sex
sexually-
workers, they are also would be
yeah.
asked to be on PrEP as well.
So
Wow.
has that, because you said that it protects against HIV,
HIV.
right? So, but not other STDs. Have
No.
you seen, has the community seen an increase in other
There is
STDs
actually across
because
the
of that?
U.S. all the other STIs have gone up, and there are
That
now
would make
super
sense.
forms of them that antibiotics can't combat or get rid of. So there's super gonorrhea.
Oh,
Because
wow.
because people weren't finishing their antibiotics,
Right.
and also because it's just kind of mutated,
Mm-hmm.
and so people aren't using protection because there's just not this big fear around HIV anymore.
It does seem like once you become like the fear or the respect of HIV, once that you kind of overcome that, and that's the one thing that you think, okay, I need to worry about that. It's almost to the point where you feel then you lose your focus on everything else, and those kind of things happen, right? Then the strands become more resistant to antibiotics. Where do you think that goes? Do you think that continues on to get worse and a stronger strain?
I think with HIV or other STIs.
The other
STIs, they're
yeah.
getting stronger. They're getting a little more prevalent in the communities. Mainly chlamydia, I've been seeing a lot more rise in people getting that one. It's just that's the speculation, is that the thought is that HIV is not that big of a fear. It's also just lack of education.
Right.
Because when
Right.
we do our surveys, so we do a survey when we're out and doing outreach, and it's pretty much asking for the last 30 days your substance use and sexual activities. And one of the questions is when you're doing oral sex, and what kind of barrier are you using? And most of the time it's never, because most people don't use barriers when they're having oral sex. But then the main question always comes up, because then the next question is when you're doing vaginal sex, you use a barrier, and then anal, receptive, or insertive. But mainly the first word that comes up when we say, are you using a barrier? What is that? I'm like, oh, it's some sort of like a dental dam or a condom. And then their next response most of the time now is, and it's just within the last 2 years, I'm hearing a lot of people, is the pill a barrier? I'm like, oh, no. Like, that'll protect you from getting pregnant, but
Right.
that doesn't
Yeah.
protect you from STIs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people believe that is protecting them from contracting anything. And it's like, no. So
So the term STI versus STD.
I think it's just
Synonymous.
like changing. Yeah. So
Okay.
I
And
think
it
it was
stands
sexually
for-
transmitted diseases, but then a lot of people started transitioning it to sexually transmitted infections.
Infections.
So I don't know. So I kind of interchange them, but I try to use STI more just because I guess that's where we're supposed to be
Where it's
using.
progressing.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know.
some of the things they don't talk about when you do take PrEP is that the side effects. Can you tell us some of the side effects?
The one side effect that has been documented, which
Right.
is very marginal, like I've looked at
Okay.
and researched it, and it's kidney
Right.
failure. But that data even showed that they weren't even certain if it was related to the PrEP usage. So they do have it on the warning of taking the PrEP that there is possibility of having some sort of kidney issues.
Right.
And so that's why if you're on PrEP, if you have a good doctor, your doctor should be checking your kidneys every 3 months. So every 3 months, you're actually, when you're on PrEP, also supposed to get tested for HIV.
Oh.
So that's when you get tested for HIV, you're supposed to get your urine analysis. That way you can see how your kidneys are functioning.
So do you also advocate condom uses if people do not want to go on PrEP?
We try to at Project Ohana not to push PrEP usage,
Right.
just because a lot of people sometimes can't get access to it.
Right.
Because if you have insurance, it'll cover it. You'll have to pay like $30, but then Gilead themselves will give you a coupon where they'll pay for the rest. up to $400 I think $400 a year. So pretty much you don't have to ever pay for it.
So what about abstinence? Do we
Abstinence, we always say, because we always say, like, what is the 100% effective way to not get an STI or get HIV? And they're all like, abstinence? Exactly. But that's not realistic. Like,
Right.
people are going to have sex. So yeah, we don't just push for condom usage. We push, like, we always ask them a question, like, okay, use condoms, but what are other ways to protect yourself from contracting STIs or HIV if you're not going to use a condom? And then that's where you come up with our discussions in our workshop, and people, eventually come up with the brainstorming of, you and your partner, if you're in an exclusive relationship, you get tested frequently. Or if you and your partner are kind of an open relationship, get tested frequently.
Yeah.
Or, communication. So there's other ways of preventing, contracting STIs and HIV. It's just, it depends on what works for you.
So 1,000% education.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. And that's what the workshops are there for. We tell people, we know you're going to party and have fun, but we help you build some communication skills, problem solving skills, so that way you can, if you're going to be out partying and have fun, hopefully reduce the risk of getting in a sticky situation, or if you're in a sticky situation, kind of get out of it without it getting worse.
And do you find, so I missed this, HIV, the stats for HIV is going down and STIs is going up?
STIs are going up. HIV is kind of fluctuates.
Oh, okay.
It is going down most population, like nationwide, but it's going up in certain populations. So certain groups it goes a little up, and we don't know the why or what's happening sometimes.
And we don't have data yet on
PIs
of
that's the thing.
contracting
That's what
HIV.
we that's the difficulty, as I say, when there's the umbrella of Asian.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
It's like,
it's all
who though? Is
Yeah.
it Pacific Islanders?
And
Is
do we
it-
fall under that umbrella? I mean, when you
Yes.
do your stats, you don't do just Asians and then PIs.
We
because there's so little PIs, you lump them together.
we break down all the ethnicities for internally with us. We tell people when they do our surveys, we're like, I want you to mention every ethnicity you identify.
Right.
Oh, I'm just Pacific Islander. No, well, what? And they're like, oh, well, I'm quarter Samoan, or I'm,
and you have
part
them list
Tongan.
everything.
And I'm like, yeah, mark it all down, because we need you to represent you
Yeah.
and your family. Like, you're representing the people that are just not getting their voice.
Right.
And I think federal funding has a lot to do with that as well, because they don't look at the PI part of it. They just look at Asian.
They
part
do.
Of it. Yeah.
It does. And then sometimes some surveys have Pacific Islander on them, but then that's still like lumping everyone
yeah.
together. And you get people who actually, Beamy had a confrontation one time. Well, had a discussion with someone where they were all like, well, I'm Filipino. I'm not Pacific Islander. And you're all like, well, that's why you can check off that box.
Yeah.
Like, we have that here. But it's like, some people consider them Pacific Islanders, some people don't. So it's like, that's where then, well, where are you going to fall? And then when the national data, where is that person? And who are they representing?
We've had this discussion. A lot of Filipinos prefer Pacific Islanders, but there are a lot of that prefer Asian. So that just kind of gets...
And where are they, though? I mean,
What, Filipino?
Yeah, they're
the
Asian.
Philippines? They would be Southeast
No,
Asian.
I know where it's at, but I'm saying, what category are they in? Or does it just
That's what we're
depend on the
saying.
person?
When we're
depends
gathering
on the
data.
person that you're
Yeah.
talking to.
Right.
Yeah.
It really depends.
It depends. And I've had people who have come to Cafe Wellness, and when I go through the paperwork, they will mark 1 week they're Samoan, the next week they're Samoan. I mean, whatever it is they're mixed with, because we have that category.
Right.
And, the data gets entered in and then sent off to the people who analyze all this. So,
But the way that people gather data is that's one of the issues.
yeah.
Right? If you're clarifying and being very clear about what is this and what is that, great. If the next person down the road with the other program that's
Right.
going to end up being sent for national data services is very specific but different, then you're getting, we're getting inaccurate numbers.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Even with 23andMe, right? I thought I was 100%, Pacific Islander Samoan. And then I see all these other things and I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to start checking off different areas. But I know I am Samoan, but there's just these other areas that that say this is where your DNA is at.
Well, where your ancestors
Right.
came from and lineage came from. Because I'm like, I could claim Spaniard, but I'm all like, I'm Mexican. I'm like, even though 23andMe says I'm like 46% from Spain or
Right.
the Iberian Peninsula, I'm all
And their
like, I know that's
categories-
just because of colonization.
They
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
change, you know. At the beginning, I was like Southeast Asian, and I was like, what? And then a couple of months later, they said, oh, American Samoa. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm confused. You know,
Yeah.
But that's just probably because they're getting more data in
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
blood,
exactly.
cell
Exactly.
DNA. So now it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we can refine where you're from.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So I would think
Oh,
that at some point they
awesome.
don't have the group, right? They've only got X amount of people in the group, so they lump that into a bigger one, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they
It's
get
awesome.
50,000 more people in this, and we're going to go ahead and name this group.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We should all do a DNA test. I think we all have.
I did 23andMe.
Yeah, me too.
Carl obviously did
Yeah.
23andMe.
But yeah, I encourage that. But some people are like, you're selling your information to. Hey, listen, in 50 years I'll be dead. They can have it.
Right.
I know,
Right.
if they can clone me and bring me back
Yeah,
to
bring me
life,
back.
Right.
go for it.
I
A
know.
better me.
Do that. Do that.
Yeah, no. But it's cool because you do find out a lot through the
Oh, man, I
23andMe
love it.
and information.
And
I had
I've-
all my family do it.
Yeah,
so
I've
it's
met
like-
people, you know, in Hawaii. They're like, hey, you know, you're from Waikongi. You know, we're related. Now, okay, send money.
We did a lot of the original reason that I did 23andMe was after I got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
I wanted to pass on. It is prostate cancer, but I wanted to pass on information to my boys, like what the tendencies are, and so they have all the information they have.
Right.
Because I was diagnosed so young that it was. Then I'm looking at my kids, going, well, if I'm in my 40s, then they're prone to having it. So I wanted to get all the information that I could to pass on to them. I'm lucky that my wife is she has a genetics degree from UC Davis, so she's able to make all that make sense, because that definitely wasn't me when I was looking at that. So we had some good conversations, like passing on health information to genetic predisposition. But I mean, it's interesting from the standpoint of finding family. But there are also, scientific and health reasons to do that, to find out what you're prone to and then what your kids might be prone to as well.
Yeah, I was sad when they got rid of the health part, and then they slowly started bringing that back, because I did it before they got rid of the health part, and I was like, I want to know what I can get or what I have.
What do you think they did that though?
It was just because it was not FDA approved, so it wasn't like concrete data on, well, is that gene responsible for that disease or that illness? So they were like,
they are bringing it back
because people were
slowly.
also making big decisions based off that.
Off
Like,
that,
okay,
yeah.
you are predisposed to having breast cancer, and people were having their breasts removed.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was like, okay,
We were
well,
talking about
you're moving
that.
you're
Yeah.
moving a little too
Right.
fast.
Right.
Well, I think it
You
was
have
the-
the possibility, so get checked, but
Right.
Don't
Don't
cut
it
them
was-
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interpretive issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are predisposed doesn't mean that
You're gonna.
your reaction. And it's so new at that point. I think the FDA was like, well, you're way ahead of us, so
Right.
you need to slow down until we can catch up with
Which
technology.
is awesome. Yeah.
Because if you hear that, of course, if you're predisposed, doesn't mean you're going to.
Yeah.
It means you're more likely than that group of people. And you're right, big health decisions were being made, but I think more of it had to do with like not understanding the data.
True.
So Daniel, do you have any projects coming up that you can share, or any workshops coming up?
Our next workshop is this Wednesday. It'll be our first workshop for the next series. It'll be here in the Asian American Recovery Services building at 1115 Mission Road. It'll start at 6:30 p.m. Anyone and everyone over 18 is welcome. Those between 18 and 24 that do identify within the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities are incentivized to get up to $100 in gift cards.
Whoa.
Yeah. So anyone
Age
between
limit?
18 to 24. You have
18
to be
to
between
20.
18 and 24.
Oh, I'll be there.
Because that's what we don't card. So I shouldn't say that.
Yes.
But
So that's 18 plus 24 plus 18.
Yeah, there you go.
but that's where we're funded to try to collect data on, because there's very little data on that population. Like even though there's little data altogether, there's even less on that population. information. So that's where we're trying to get their information. So everyone's welcome. Please, RSVP and hit me up on Facebook. That way I can know how much food to bring.
Yes.
Always
We love
important.
food.
Always
That's
important.
important.
Yes,
If you say
exactly.
food,
They'll be there.
look,
Well,
I'll be there. And what time is that again?
It's at 6:30.
6:30
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
It's what day is that? I can't remember. July 23rd? No.
Yeah, 22, 23,
24.
24. There
July
you
24.
go.
There we go.
July 24. People want to get a hold of you and want to find out more about Project Ohana. How can they do that?
Yes, you can easily text and call. I am definitely down with technology. You can call me and text me at 415-314-2224.
Oh, sure. Okay, go ahead. Put your phone number out there.
Well, that's my work phone. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I am on Facebook. Daniel Nava. I think I have Project Ohana or Ohana in my name. That way, people
Yes.
know. Yeah, I had it as my last name, and they're like, oh, I better put my in parentheses because people thought me and Beamy were married or related or something.
And nothing wrong with that. Beaming's
No,
awesome.
nothing at all. It was
Yes.
just like,
We love Beamy.
confusion.
Well, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having
Stairs.
me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming downstairs. We love having you. You're more than welcome to come on anytime. Good luck with Project Ohana, and thank you. The candy. Start next time. Bring some candy.
Yeah,
What's
and
wrong with
pizza.
you? You're listening to the FICA podcast. We're here every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Come back to FICA with us.